It is that time again. Time to walk home from work as the sun rises. 7 in the morning and it's still pretty dark out. It's pretty scary, it's pretty creepy, but whatever. I figure I continue my Great Socialization video series that I meant to continue about a month ago, but I just couldn't find the time because, you know, when you live with a roommate, you don't want to do video stuff just because, hell, just because. Anyways, so when I was in high school, at first I really kept to myself. People thought there was something wrong with me because I was that kid in the back of class who barely talked, barely raised his hand, really didn't really know how to communicate at all. And then I started watching TV series like Becker, Daria. I started watching ECW with Taz and Raven and stuff, even World Wrestling Entertainment with Steve Austin and whatever. And I started saying to myself, man, you know, these guys communicate by being angry or depressed and, you know, with negativity. And I thought to myself, man, if I was able to communicate with negativity, I definitely do feel, you know, cynical about stuff and very sarcastic, very similar to Daria and Becker. Not as much as Taz or Raven, but I definitely had some qualities of those people, of those television figures as well. And that's pretty much how I communicated. I was like that up until I met my high school crush, because when I was being negative, it won me a fair share of popularity. And I had popularity because whatever the stuff I said was just really funny. You know, people thought I was, you know, really speaking my mind about certain things, pointing out the bullshit of high school and how, you know, we're all gonna look back at this and laugh at it like it's a big joke, you know. And with girls, you know, I didn't discriminate. So, you know, I would complain and be overly sarcastic to girls too, but I didn't know how to ask them out on dates and stuff. Wasn't that far yet. So, but either way, I meet my high school crush and I ask my mom, I'm like, hey, how do I, you know, begin a relationship with this girl, because she's really pretty and she seems really nice, really sweet, and you know, she's popular, and I just wanna, you know, lack of a better term, hook up with her. And she's like, well, you have to stop being so sarcastic and negative and all that good stuff. And so, as I cross the street and run, there we go. All right. And so I decided to be nice to her. I decided to compliment, you know, all that bullshit. And she just was not having it. And, you know, in the aftermath, I remember creeping the hell out of her, which is a bad habit that I'll still repeat to this day. And it's just being overly attentive, you know, assuming that the longer you hang around somebody, the more attention they'll eventually give you, which is a complete and total crock. So she unceremoniously decided that I was, for lack of a better term, stalking her, which was completely out of line. I mean, I was hanging around after her final class, but that doesn't really, that's being creepy, but it's not stalking by any stretch of the imagination. You know, I didn't know where this girl lived. I didn't know what she drove. I didn't know where her other classes were. I just knew where she hung out in the beginning and at the end of school. But after, after that rejection, I was extremely heartbroken. And instead of being overly sarcastic and cynical, I became extremely bitter, pessimistic. I would complain a lot, and it was at about that time that I really lost most of whatever charm I had. I didn't have it anymore, and that would eventually become my character even in my 20s, especially my early 20s, before I discovered alcohol. I was still really nervous around people. It was hard for me to look people in the eye, and all of that happy horse shit and whatever. So, but to recap, even when I was in high school, even during those moments where I was charming, it didn't matter, because I still wasn't able to work in groups. I still wasn't able to go to other people's houses unless it was my childhood friend. I remember there was a school project that I was working on, and it was me and 3 other guys, and we had an option of either doing our work in class or doing it at someone else's house. And they wanted to all do it at someone else's house, and that scared the bejesus out of me, because I didn't know how to function that way. So there was a big hoopla about it, and although I didn't fail the assignment, I looked like an asshole in front of the people I was working with, in front of the group that I was working with. And so that was among one of the few things. I mean, there were girls that really liked me, but I couldn't hook up with them because I didn't know how to ask a girl out. I didn't know how to say to a girl, sorry, that's an uphill climb for the ages. I didn't know how to ask a girl, hey, are you doing anything Thursday night? I'd like to take you to go bowling or something like that. You know what I mean? I did not know how to ask that question. So that about sums up my socializing issues in my teenage years. In the next video, I will go over my socializing issues in my 20s, my early 20s, or late teens to early 20s. And then after that, I will go over my journey, my 2-year journey that I took with socializing with people at large. All right. And then the series will continue on from there. All right. And here's a shot of how things look like outside of my apartment as the sun comes up. And there's a star. All right. Peace.